because the House of Commons has a duty to lead by example, to be an exemplar employer. The report is clear that there needs to be a complete change in leadership at the most senior level, including you, Mr. Speaker, as Chief Officer, if we are, in Dame Laura's words, to press the reset button.
There's a number of unacceptable behaviours. Page 64 lists some of them. Taunting, mocking, mimicking, deliberately belittling in front of other members, making offensive personal comments about appearance, belittling someone's junior status, making lengthy and humiliating tirades of criticism of abuse in front of colleagues. How can we encourage Mr. Speaker to stop this behaviour?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I just suggest that I think that the moment of this debate is not the time for members to indulge in a bit of bullying of their own. There should be independent processes, not innuendo.
Speaker, I just feel totally and utterly maddened by this. I'm not here to defend anybody, including you, Mr. Speaker. I have spoken to hundreds of the people involved in this throughout the process. I noticed that the neither right nor honourable, in my opinion, he probably isn't either anyway, member for Rochford has probably spoken to none of them. And some of us don't actually care who it is, who is the offender. It is the victims that we care about, and we will not use it for political gain, and nothing fills the victims with more dread than when people play with their feelings. So don't do it. Don't do it in here. Don't do it for them. You are speaking only for yourself. I personally think that the management of this place probably needs a massive overhaul. I'm not going to point the finger for the sake of newspaper headlines. But the fact of the matter is that nothing I have heard today fills me with any hope that politics will be taken out of this, and that the same 12 people, and we all know exactly who they are and exactly how they're getting away with it, won't just be walking around for the next 20 years. What will...
I, along with my honourable friend, the member for Bassetlaw, was one of those first MPs who called for independent regulation before the expenses scandal erupted and during it. And I agree that I think independent regulation and external adjudication are going to be the only ways forward on this, and I agree with you on that, Mr. Speaker. But is it also not clear from some of the contributions we've heard from some of the benches opposite that some of them, at least, are motivated by personal animosity towards the current Speaker, who is not in a position to answer back? And at a time when our country faces probably its most serious constitutional and political crisis for a generation, we need a Speaker who is prepared to stand up for backbenchers, stand up for this House against an overmighty and overbearing executive, particularly one which is threatening, at least, to drive through a Brexit which would be completely intolerable to a majority of members of this House.
Well, I think what I'd say to the honourable gentleman is not only is he not taking part in this in the spirit that it's intended, but he's also casting aspersions on the deputy speakers, who I think also stand up for backbenchers, stand up for what's right for our country, and are perfectly good at taking the chair. So I don't understand why he feels that the future of this great nation relies on one individual person, which is what he seems to be suggesting.